Alrighty, all. Welcome back. So, day 13 video. We are out here getting our steps done. Day number 2, starting the day with the stepper. I'll tell you what, my quads, glutes, hammies, they're all sore from hitting this thing yesterday. But we're ready to go. Now, yesterday we trained chest. Man, wicked pump. Wicked pump. Tricep, still pissed off. It's at least not hurting the next day after lifting, but it is still very irritated during lifting. So, a little bit of a limiting factor for the tricep portion, but it doesn't really affect pressing too much, like probably like 5 or 10%, but we're still hitting pretty much the way we want to, so I'll accept it. And we're still getting to failure, just a little bit lighter. And I slowed the reps down. So we're doing a like 2-1-2 type of tempo. So a 2-centric or a 2-second eccentric, 1 second pause, and then a 2-second concentric. So 2 down, 1 pause, 2 up. The amount of muscle fiber activation I get with slowing the rep down like that is non-matched. As well as the sheer amount of like fatigue placed under time under tension is just ridiculous. So that's kind of the way we approached training back yesterday. I think we're going to try to carry that over into everything within reason. Because there's certain things, that slow of a rep at a moderate load is not feasible. Like say front raises, side raises, things like that. You're not going to do that rep that slow. But do it as slow as you can. And the reason why is it's not necessarily how many reps you're doing. Now there's obviously time under range of motion. So you can't just do 1 rep that takes you 30 seconds. But if you also go through 10 reps, it takes you 8 seconds, that's also not effective. So you want to kind of shoot for that 10 to 15 reps that takes you 25 to 30 seconds. If possible, you're not taking the tension off of the muscle. So you don't rest the bar in your chest. If you're bench pressing, you're doing dumbbell raises, you don't stop and hang the weight at your side between each rep, unless you're doing them alternating, which then the reps are a lot slower, more controlled. So usually that trade-off comes in. But the point I'm trying to make here is don't rush through your reps. And also don't take them so slow you can't complete at least 10. Another thing that goes with that is if you're able to do your reps super fast, the weight's too low. Then if you're doing them slow but you're only getting to 5 or 6, the weight's too heavy. Unless you're trying to train to be like a power lifter, which that is not this phase. I'm not talking about that. talking strictly in hypertrophy and bodybuilding terms. Because we do go through a strength block, and we're never really going over 5 or 6 reps. But that's a different story. Trying to put on that size, definition, cutting, that's where this applies. Man, oh man, I cannot wait for this next section of steps that you got. So it's basically 9-minute blocks. I do, funny enough, 100 calories at 5 speed at my body weight, exactly 9 minutes, it's 100 calories. So then I take a minute and a half or so break, 2-minute break between that. Make sure my heart rate comes down like I was talking about yesterday. But we want to make sure when you're hitting your reps for any movement, you're focused on your technique and the contraction. Now, contraction's not everything, but it is a big part of it. So if you can't contract it, you can't feel it. And if the weight's so heavy that you can't get to full contraction, you're robbing yourself. So, make sure you're keeping a clean form, solid contraction, the big squeeze. That big squeeze isn't per se building muscle or making it stronger, but it is going to push more blood into the muscle, which in the grand scheme of things is what we're trying to do here. It's hypertrophy work. We're trying to blow that thing up like a balloon. So, yeah, I understand the pump is not the 100% key factor if you're building muscle or not, but it's a pretty good indicator that you're doing something right. So, unfortunately, when it comes to building muscle, there's multiple pathways that all kind of intersect with each other. And depending upon where you're getting them to intersect, it's going to dictate the effectiveness of what you just did. So fatigue, sheer load of weight, sheer time under tension, the pump itself, how much blood did you push into that muscle? Then how many total sets of reps are you doing for that muscle? So you have to kind of find what works for your own body as well. Next rest period. So, because of that, what works for me may not work for Joe, but what works for Joe still works for me. But what works for Joe and me may not work for Chris. So, and then what Chris does doesn't work for me or Joe. Because that's just the weird thing about genetics and overall body makeup, right? Because everyone kind of has different arms, different legs, torsos are different lengths. Your tendon insertions for the muscle bellies are all different lengths. So that's one of the stubborn things about fitness, is because what does work for somebody, you can make them get very far in this industry, is not going to work for everybody. But it's the possibility of like, oh, like this person did this and they're saying to do this because that's what he does. You're going to get jacked and shredded for some, but not for all. And I think that's a big part that kind of gets skipped. is effectiveness for individuality. Now, granted, the general rules apply, like I was just saying. You've got those kind of like 5 factors that dictate what is going to be good for you. But that's not saying how you need to do it to get those factors. Different. Same with cardio. If someone goes and runs 5 miles and they can still get super lean while being big, they're special. If you're going to try to be big and lean, you're not running, because you're breaking down muscle tissue to do that in general. For example, that's why I got to take these rest periods to keep my heart rate preferably below 135, trying to keep it below 130. But just remember, when you're working out, trying to get lean, trying to get big, a lot of it's diet, and then a lot of it is you're just training to failure. So those are the factors that matter the most. And as for dieting, that's all just kind of a test trial for you, basically, right? It's like, okay, let's find one meal that I'm going to eat for 7 days straight, every meal, and that's going to start as your baseline. Most people, you can pick chicken rice or chicken and potatoes. And the next week, you're going to pick one meal to substitute one of them at lunchtime on 2 days out of that week, one every 3 days. So you can go, if you're doing chicken and potato, you can go chicken and rice. And then see how that affects your stomach. Do you bloat? Do you feel slow? All that stuff. If you don't, perfect. You can use that in your diet plan. And that's the part about dieting that kind of sucks, is you got to take that time to go ahead and figure out how each food you want to put in your body affects you on the way your energy feels, the way your bowel movements work, the way you sleep, the way your physique looks itself. Do you retain water? Do you get bloated? Do you look leaner? Are you more dried out? All that stuff all applies. The same with training. Bench press may work for me, but it doesn't work for someone else to have to do dumbbell press or machine press only. So individually, things change. So it's a big science experiment for the first year to really trying to figure this out. But we'll go ahead and end this video off here. Make sure you guys are out there working on your goals, getting your stuff done. Most of all, just don't be a lazy fuck.